Welcome to Tantrum Studio D. I'm Kevin Delp.
And I'm Melissa Delp.
Today we're looking at Spell Smashers. Spell Smashers is a 1 to 5 player hand management word game that plays in about 45 to 60 minutes. It's designed by Christopher Chung and published by Renegade Game Studios.
Players will be smashing monsters using their hand of letter cards to form words. You'll be visiting the town, completing quests, collecting coins, and victory points. Whoever has the most victory points wins the game.
Let's look inside the box. The components include a double-sided town board, one side for the multiplayer game and one for the solo game, player boards, consonant and vowel letter cards, wound cards, gear and quest cards, modifier cards, player aids, monster tiles, coins, crests, tokens, and boss monster cards for the solo game.
At the beginning of the game, players receive a hand of 7 letter cards and some starting coins depending on player order.
You'll set up as many monsters as there are players. Place the monster tiles on top of modifier cards. The total amount of money shown on the tile and modifier card determines the monster's health. You'll put that amount of money on the crest above the monster.
The game is played over 7 rounds, and each round has 3 phases. There's prepare your words, battle monsters, and then visit town.
During the prepare words phase, you choose which gear to activate, up to 1 weapon and 1 piece of armor. At the beginning of the game, each player has a starting stick. Then you try to form a word with your cards. Once everyone is ready, you simultaneously reveal your words. Whoever uses the most letters goes first.
Then you move into the battle monsters phase. You'll choose 1 monster to fight and then determine how much damage you deal. Usually you'll just add up the damage numbers on your word. But some gear cards or monster modifiers can increase or decrease the values, often based on the type of damage the card deals. Fire, water, or earth. You take 1 coin off the monster crest for each damage you deal. If you defeat a monster by removing the final coin, you collect the monster tile. It's worth 3 points at the end of the game and gives you a permanent letter you can use in future words.
But every time you attack a monster, you'll receive a number of wound cards based on the attack strength shown on the monster tile. These wound cards feature a combination of letters that clog up your hand, but you can use them as part of your word. It might just be a little harder.
After each player has battled a monster, you go to the town phase. First, you draw 2 quest cards and decide to keep 1. These are personal objectives you can complete for points. Then you can visit 1 building in town. At the guild, you can draw more quest cards, but you can only have 2 uncompleted quests at a time. If you visit the shaman, you can discard your wound cards, but you have to give up a monster trophy if you have one.
The rest of the buildings require you to spend money. At the tavern, you boast about your battle scars and gain an ale token for each wound card in your hand. These are worth points at the end of the game. At the alchemist, you can buy potions that help you in battle. And at the armory, you can purchase gear cards. You draw 2 and keep 1.
Before the new round begins, you refill your hand up to 7 cards. You can draw 1 card at a time from the consonant and vowel decks, but your wound cards do count toward your hand limit. You also replace defeated monsters and add an ale token to remaining monsters.
At the end of the 7th round, you'll skip the town phase and add up your score. There's even a handy-dandy player aid to remind you of what scores.
You do have to be careful of those wound cards because they're worth negative points.
I like the different damage types. Some of the monster modifier cards have like a resistance or a weakness to specific damage types. I like that. And that will determine what you may or may not want to attack that round.
Those modifiers and the bonuses you get from gear cards mean that you don't have to have a huge vocabulary or make spectacular words to do well in this game. And then there's even the potions that give you more flexibility. The tonic, it lets you switch out 1 letter for any other letter.
I like the Miko's art, and it fits so well with this fantasy medieval theme. The illustrations on the different weapons and the monsters are so cool. Even the lettering works well with it.
The first time we played this game, it was with 5 players, and I think it felt a little long waiting for it to get to my turn.
It was our first time through the game, though.
True, so we were learning, all of us. So that probably influenced it a little bit. I do think I like it best at 3 or 4 players.
Now, we didn't play the solo game, but it involves surviving 6 waves of monsters and then defeating a big bad boss monster at the end.
Personally, I really enjoy word games, and I thought this one had some interesting decisions. And I can see it being a bridge for people who don't really like just straight word games, but are intrigued by the adventuring and battling theme.
If you enjoy games like Letter Tycoon or Paperback, looking for a word game with a twist, then check out Spell Smashers from Renegade Game Studios, and be sure to subscribe to Tantrum House. Spell Smashers!
Don't smash me in the face!
Spell Smashers! While she's adjusting her hair, you can go subscribe over there. Good.